Hey folks, Super Dave down here at Big Country RV in Redmond. Gonna do a little series today on what to look for when you're buying a used RV and signs and symptoms and things that shout, no way. I'm not trying to pick on this Arctic Fox behind me. They're actually a pretty good product, but this one wasn't taken care of. So I'm gonna show you a few things. First thing I want to point out on this coach is, first impressions aren't terrible. You're looking around and it looks pretty good, looks okay. What you do is you start looking down this sideline, the edge of this trailer, in that same area we just looked at, in a little different light. I can see a bubble right here. What you want to do is you want to push on that. See how it's soft, folks? See how it's kind of wrinkled out? That's called delamination, and what that means is the fiberglass and the backing have pulled apart and the glue's come away. There's really no way to fix it. So you look at this coach, you go all the way around. Let me show you some more little spots. So looking at this coach right here, I've got delamination all the way around. I can see the previous owner has done their best to correct this seal. But as I kind of start looking at this coach, I start seeing other symptoms. Right there I see a very much sun-rotted awning cover, which kind of tells a story, right? It tells me the story that this thing has been uncovered. It's been exposed to the elements. It's had sun on it, heat temperature changes, expansion, contraction. So you start kind of getting the picture on this thing, right? You realize, even though it's a really well-built fifth wheel from a very, very reputable manufacturer, you still got to take care of them. Let's go on the side and take a look. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of go through this thing, and I'm going to take you through problem areas and spots you can take a look at when you're kind of quickly going over used product and trying to make a decision with the best intel you can find. So first impression, as you come around this, first thing I notice right down here is discoloration in that floor. That tells me water has been leaking in this slide out here. That's a really good common place to look. As you kind of pan out, next thing I see here, another indicator. It's called a freeze crack. So this thing has definitely been left out in cold temperatures. And the old style linoleums, what they used to do, they were glued down and they just expanded and cracked and pulled apart. The newer linoleums don't do that, but it's another indicator that this coach has been, kind of left out in the cold. We're going to head over to this corner here. Again, my trained eye sees this water stain right here, and it's really kind of obvious and clear to see. I'm starting to get a pretty good picture of what we're dealing with in this fifth wheel, and we're starting to get a pretty good intel on what happened. Let's go up into the bedroom. Actually, everything looks pretty good up here. I always check the corners first. That is where you're going to see a lot of your symptoms and signs. So we're back here in the Arctic Fox and going through another kind of area I checked. We've basically inspected the floors, and I've kind of come to my conclusion I think where the water's coming from. But I do like to check these back areas because the inertia, when you travel, a lot of times if there's a leak somewhere in the roof, it can travel back here. So you always want to inspect these back corners, inspect these back little areas, because that's often where you're going to kind of see some stuff. And I can show you some ideas there what that looks like. We're back outside again. Another indicator of the trailer's been left out in a lot of weather and not been covered, and is a good indicator of potential problems is signs like excessive sun damage. Look at the decals. What kind of decals are we dealing with? If you see on these one, even though this is a high quality unit, these decals have seen some sun. If you look up here, you see the gray, right? You can look real close to the checking and the peeling. This is more like what they're supposed to look like down here. So that area, that particular decal, didn't see as much sun. Could have been a shadow, but if you look at, literally comes up and turns into this terrible molded, kind of folded look where the sun was hitting. All right, folks, we're in a different little fifth wheel now, and kind of going to go ahead and look at another example of potential problems and things to look for. First impression of this is the very clean, well put together fifth wheel, but on closer inspection you can kind of see there are some problems. I'm going to pan back over here and find a real common area where fifth wheels can leak. And if you notice right here, you can see that matted kind of punctured finish. See, there's no doubt that there's been water in here, right? So this whole panel, if you look at it, hear that sound? Let me knock on this side. See, that's pretty mushy too. What that should sound like, if it was more solid, would be this. Hear the difference in that? All right, so there you have it, folks. Kind of a real quick little how-to, and when you're looking at used units, how to get a little intel that can tell you a little bit about the history of the rig and help you determine if you're making a good sound decision or not. Those are some of the things I like to show my customers, and thought I'd pass them on to you.